Good morning. What's happening, family? Welcome to the show. It is Michelle Bryant here at WNOV 860 AM 106.5 FM. You are listening to Say Something Real and Real Talk. Man, I was doing everything I could to stay home this morning. I was praying that it was going to be freezing. I was praying. I was like, man, I ain't had a snow day in so long. Remember snow days?
Yeah.
Woo.
They don't do them.
Boy, well, I mean, people in Milwaukee don't really know because they had y'all going to school no matter what.
I mean, 15 feet.
This was some child abuse going on
Yes,
in
it was.
Wisconsin. When I first moved here, I was like, are you serious? They not closing school today? And but I just living in New York and in the South, man, snow day would be the bomb. I mean, but y'all had to have Armageddon before they gave y'all a snow day. They have closed MPS for tomorrow. A number of districts across the state have begun to give parental advisories, make some alternate plans because MPS or your potential school district will not be open tomorrow.
That is dangerous.
Oh, it's going to be a fool tomorrow. The weather is going to be outrageous. It's going to start after midnight again. I was doing everything I could, like, man, let it hit today. But not my luck. But today, what I think they said it's a high of 18 degrees today, and it'll be -9 for our low. So, do with that what you want to. But tomorrow, the high is -5.
So that means
That's the high.
freezing.
-5 is the high. The low is -11. So I am thankful that all the warming centers. Dude, why you keep zipping all the way up like it's you zipping your collar up
Yeah.
like the air, like you outside right now.
Nah.
Yeah, look, you sound like Keisha Daddy. Keisha Daddy was going to go to bed last night, and I don't know what I said to him. I said something to him, and he said, "Yeah, man, getting ready. The worst is about to come." I said, "What you talking about?" He was talking about the cold. You ain't gonna be outside. So what is all of this? Like he ain't even opening the door, yet alone gonna be outside in the elements. That cracked me up. I was like, sir, you will not ever feel a single. So I was like, I'm gonna intentionally take him outside and have him walk around. Since you want to talk about it's gonna be bad. Yeah, I was like, bruh, you ain't about to feel nothing. Let me say good morning to the brothers in the studio. What's happening, fellas? What's going on, Ride Out? What's going on?
Well, Shell,
Well,
I
need to clean my glass. Man,
hold on.
I miss Keon Jackson Malone.
Yeah.
The
He would have kept you on point.
the colleague
That would have kept you
responsibilities that y'all don't know about. Keon kept eyeglass cleaners for me.
I don't see no over here neither.
He would throw me packs of alcohol cleaners for my glasses across the thing when I sat down. So in addition to no baked beans,
Yeah. And no eyeglass cleaner.
no eyeglass cleaners, no breakfast. Jermaine bring his breakfast every morning. I can't get a biscuit.
Yeah.
No breakfast. See, they tell you don't miss your water till you wear one dry. Because when he was here, we argued and fought like cats and dogs.
Right.
But I remember him saying, Negro, you gonna miss me.
He's spoken.
I remember him because we didn't talk for like 3 days because he had pissed me off. Excuse the language, but I was hot with him,
He was on
and
fire.
neither one of us was talking. We was doing the whole show and we're talking. Everybody was like, "Y'all need to work that out." And then when I got ready to walk out the door, no, he walked out doing something, and he turned around. Oh, nigga, you don't miss me. I was like, I bet I won't. Can't get no ride to the airport, no pickups. Yeah, I sure missed that child. But yeah, so you were about to say, with your no eyeglass cleaner having self. What was you about to say?
Shell,
What?
It's gonna be cold as a fool tomorrow.
I think we've said that.
And yeah, well, I mean, I'm just, I
You-
gotta prepare myself
Why? What you gonna do? Walk out the house, get in your car.
and get slapped by that hawk.
You'll be outside for a whole 8 minutes.
And that 8 minutes gonna slap.
It
the
won't even
dog
be
out.
8. It really be about 3. Then you're gonna do your keyless startup, get into a toasty vehicle. So, I mean, what you want me to say, man?
Well, I was just preparing my mind.
Nah, because I'm gonna tell you, stuff get put in perspective real fast.
Yeah.
They were doing a story last night about the warming centers.
I think I saw that
going into place,
yeah.
And I know the county exec is doing some press thing today, making sure people are aware.
Yeah.
But then they show like these tents and people outside.
Yeah.
But they show like the snow that's on the ground. They tents is out there in the snow.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, how
Matter of fact,
do y'all do it?
If you ride past Tent City off of Elite.
Yeah, for the first time. I passed by there this summer and saw it, and it was jarring. Jolting.
Really, really, really
it's
make
crazy.
you think about life, because you see these people out there and they live in these elements, rain, sleet, snow.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm appreciative even for the tents.
Yeah.
I was looking at, they were showing after Trump and his border peace nonsense. They was talking about which countries weren't represented, who wasn't at the table. Israel wasn't at the table. Palestinians, folks, weren't at the table. And they showed the guys a strip because they talking about how, Trump is talking about this is a beautiful piece of real estate, beautiful property. But they showed it and everybody out there is in a tent. It's just tents everywhere. I'm like, that's all these people got. To keep them out of the elements are tents. So it certainly puts it into perspective. Like you say, I can stand in my window, hit keyless startup, and come outside and, relative ease and come on where I gotta go. So I do, and I think about, I saw people out yesterday, panhandling, and women, older women. It kills me when I see like 50 and 60, in some cases almost look like they 70-year-old women, white and black women, particularly down on East Capitol.
Yeah.
And you like, man, what is you doing out here?
No, just even yesterday, we on the show live on Keith's show, and the older guy coming down the street.
I saw you.
Superman. What's his name?
Doink.
So he coming down the street, and cars passing by, and even though he might do this all of the time, still somebody should help him. He's an older guy. Yes, he's in the street. He's trying to get around, but this is
that's the guy that he was pushing in the wheelchair.
That's the guy that I got off the air, went outside in the middle of traffic, and got him out of traffic, because if something happened to him,
right,
and we all could have done something about it, we should be ashamed of ourselves.
And he in a wheelchair.
And
that was one of the things. And I'm glad you said something, because I thought about that, and I saw we had taken care of it. But that's why the city always talks to people, or they, there's information out there. I think we could do a better job of reminding people to clean. If you live on the corner, and for whatever reason, I've always lived on the corner. Just about. If you live on the corner, to clean off that corner crosswalk,
so they can
because
get up,
people that are differently abled, walkers, wheelchairs, canes, people need to be able to step up onto that, have a clear way to get onto the sidewalk. Because we'll all do our sidewalks, but nobody wants to be responsible for that little corner piece.
Right. So they can get their wheelchair.
Do whatever they gotta do.
That's a little different for them.
Back in the day, the city used to do that.
But they put it on the property owner now.
Property owner now.
Right. Yeah. And so I know, we went out our way to do it, particularly because we had a lot of older people in the neighborhood. But I thought about that when I saw you, because I saw you pushing him in the wheelchair across the street. And I was like, man, this is crazy.
But what tripped me out is, and some people might say, oh, well, he do this all the time. He's in the street all of the time. Well, this might be his only form of transportation, of getting around, because his legs don't work like that. So if he's in the street like that, help him. Don't just stand there and be like, oh, he does this all the time, and then something happened, and then it's he got hit.
And does it all the time, and to a point of it sounds like irritation.
Yeah,
like you in the way. No, I appreciated it. I saw you yesterday, and I definitely appreciate, because I look like, what's happening, and then when I realized what was happening, I just had to nod my head in respect, because way too often I'm busy. I got to get where I got to go, and I tell people the number of times I come to a meeting late, and folks like, Michelle, you late? I'm like, yeah, I know. I had to help somebody.
Yeah.
But this is an important meeting. I appreciate that, but it was a handicapped person in a wheelchair in the middle of the street.
Right.
Your meeting
can wait.
You're gonna be all right.
Something happened to this.
Yeah, you're gonna be all right. So I appreciate that. Let me say good morning to Clark. What up, Clark?
Who you with?
I'm with you, fam. I'm with you. I am with you, not with my son. I want to be on the record. I want to be
Did you
on
get
the
at it
record.
yesterday?
Oh my God. Oh my God. The number of comments.
But did you make arrangements to go get that table?
What you think?
No.
You think I made arrangements? You think I'm gonna let some little boy pressure me? That's cabbage and
beans and sausages.
That's cabbage. I don't know what kind of beans.
Man, what is that?
It's
man?
Outpost, man.
Outpost.
What you think it's gonna be?
Something,
it's gonna be something.
Yeah,
It's Outpost. It's gonna be something extra. But no, I ain't let my son pressure me. I ain't about to think about the boy. And he gonna send me a clip of the show when he did his little foolishness, and I was just like, nah, I'm still not on my way to get it. And in fact, I'm scheduled to be in Atlanta the first week in February, and I'm gonna go down there, go to a concert, and then come back home
without the table.
Without the table. So yeah, it cracked him up. He just was too beside himself yesterday. Good morning to Mr. DeBoe, who was somewhere stalking around the building. You see? Oh yeah, stalking, boo, stalking. So yeah, let me do this. I'll hit the conversation about the extreme weather. I think that people need to definitely make sure that they're paying attention. But again, understanding, please make arrangements. If you have daycare needs, childcare needs, and a part of that includes your children going to MPS. MPS has closed schools on Friday due to the anticipated dangerously cold temperatures, according to a release that they put out. All schools in the district, all after school, recreation, other programs and events are canceled. I was cracking up because they said some students had exams, finals, and it was like, so those will be put off till Tuesday. I know it was kids like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Yeah. I just remember all of days. So yeah, please take it easy. And also not just Friday, if there are MKE rec activities that are school-based that are happening on Saturday, January 24th, those are also canceled as well. So you have Friday in district classes, instruction, and then rec activities that are connected to the district canceled as well for Saturday. Whatever you need to do, please go do it today. Get your little snacks, whatever you trying to eat. Toilet paper, you know how we do. Toilet paper and milk be on everybody's list. Now nobody eat no cereal, but toilet paper and milk is on everybody's list. So good morning to my folks on Facebook. I see some of y'all checking in. What's happening on YouTube? Appreciate y'all this morning. So let me do something real quick before I go to break. I'm going to be doing a couple of things that are interwoven with history this morning as I cover a number of issues around the country. But, as people try to tell us about the reason to get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and white men being discriminated against, and, oh, the world is so unfair, la, 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 la. There was a post. I followed this brother who puts out a lot of good Black history information, and I promise you how much we don't know about African Americans' contributions, what we've been through. So let me take a second. There was um, this group called the Golden 13, and this is in 1944. So my mother is 2 years old at the time that this story takes place. It's real quick. In 1944, as World War II raged across Europe and the Pacific, the United States Navy remained rigidly segregated. Black sailors were largely restricted to menial roles, cooks, stewards, and laborers, regardless of their intelligence, leadership ability, or service record. Against this backdrop of institutional racism, a quiet but historic challenge unfolded at Great Lakes Naval Training Station right next door in Illinois. It would produce a group later known as the Golden 13. That year, the Navy selected 16 highly qualified Black enlisted men for an experimental officer training program. The conditions were unequal from the start. While white officer candidates were given 16 weeks of instruction, these black 16 these 16 Black sailors were ordered to complete the same curriculum in just 8 weeks. There were no textbooks provided, no formal classroom instruction, and no guarantee that success would be rewarded. They were expected to teach themselves complex subjects such as navigation, seamanship, naval law, engineering, and leadership, all while under constant scrutiny. Despite these obstacles, all 16 men passed the program. Their scores were not merely sufficient, they were among the highest recorded in Navy training history. Their performance left no doubt about their competence or readiness to lead. Yet when the results were announced, the Navy commissioned only 13 of the men as officers, making them the first Black commissioned officers in U.S. Navy history. The three remaining men, who had also passed, were denied commissions. No explanation was given, no deficiencies were cited. Their exclusion underscored a painful truth. Even excellence could not fully overcome racism. The Golden 13 went on to serve with distinction, though they were often assigned to segregated units and denied command over white sailors. Still, their very presence in uniform as officers cracked a barrier that stood since the Navy's founding. Their achievement directly challenged the myth of Black inferiority and helped accelerate the Navy's eventual desegregation in 1948 under President Harry S. Truman. For decades, their story was largely ignored in official histories. No parades marked their success, no immediate recognition followed their sacrifice, yet their legacy endured. The Golden 13 the Golden 13 proved that leadership, intelligence, and courage are not bound by race, and that equality is often won not by permission, but by undeniable excellence. They were given half the time, fewer resources, and no guarantees. They passed anyway. And in doing so, they changed the U.S. Navy forever.
Why we never heard about this?
Never heard that story.
We heard about everything else, all other history, but this.
And as Donald Trump and his administration has gone through to try to scrub information about folks like the Tuskegee Airmen, and it got such a uproar that they had to put some of it back. But this is why diversity, equity, and inclusion is important. Because as Pete Hegseth tries to help to continue to enforce rules that could bar Black men from service, because some of them may have a difficulty keeping a clean shaven face because of the inability of a lot of Black men to put a razor on their face every day. You got these people who perform at the highest recorded level in the Navy, and then you sit back and figure out ways to keep them out. So I'm going to continue to beat this drum about the significance and the need to tell these stories, the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm going to take a second after the break. Jermaine shared with me a clip of a common council woman who was speaking at a school and telling the kids that after doing her research and hearing from Charlie Kirk and even other African Americans, that maybe Dr. King shouldn't be celebrated because he was a Marxist and a communist. And some of the kids recorded her, and you could hear the kids like, what? And it was racially diverse kids in the classroom. But here she is, a common councilwoman, speaking at a school and taking the time during the lead up to King Day to tell kids why they should not celebrate Dr. King. And then saying, as a part of her remarks, and it's some black folks that said that. Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So, you know, but let's not act like we don't know Clarence Thomas. Let's not act like we don't know any number of people like Byron Scott, Scott Turner, who's over at Hood, you know, who are black folks that are complicit in foolishness. We've always had them. We always will. Just like I was listening to a conversation I probably shouldn't have been privy to of Hispanic Latino people yesterday discussing the high number of ICE agents that are Hispanic and Latino. Even though the overwhelming majority are white, there is, the numbers vary depending on where you get your information from, but between 20 and 30% of ICE agents are actually Hispanic Latino. And so folks were talking, you know, privately amongst their own group about the need to check some of their own people about what you out here doing to people that look just like you. So let me take a break and I will be right back. Again, we're going to try to weave some history into this conversation this morning. But y'all, the Golden 13, didn't know anything about these brothers. It made me think of the 6888. You given half the time, no resources, told to figure it out. We rise to the occasion and we still get messed over. This happened in my mother's lifetime. But there are people who want us to believe that reverse discrimination is happening and it's impacting white males. I'll be right back. Folks, welcome back to the show. I'm letting people know right now I walked out of the house without my cell phone, so if you texting me, I don't see it. Because I got some folks that messaged me on Facebook like, "Man, don't you?" I don't have my phone with me. Text Jermaine to get to me,
Right.
or messenger me on Facebook. But somebody hit me and they said, "Michelle, do you have any idea of the names of the brothers?" And I pulled up the photo of them. I mean, fine black men, just gorgeous. I pulled up the photo of them in their uniforms, and this was photographed on March 17th, 1944. Let me see. But they are John Walter Reagan, Jesse Walter Arbor, Dalton Lewis Bow, Frank Ellis Sublet, Graham Edward Martin, Charles Bird Lear, Philip George Barnes, Reginald E. Goodwin, James Edward Hare, Samuel Edward Barnes, George Clinton Cooper, William Sylvester White, and Dennis Denmark Nelson. And the Navy has that picture of them. And this, they said, was in response in April 1942, thanks to protests and pressure from civil rights leaders and the black press. The Navy allowed black men into the general service ratings for the first time, responding to pressure from First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt and Assistant Secretary of the Navy Adlai Stevenson. In January 1944, the Navy began an officer training course, and that's how this whole thing gets underway. But the civil rights movement and the black press, one of the things that they said after they said the Navy wanted them to wash out. When they realized that many of these people wanted them to wash out, they said the cadets covered up the windows of their barracks and studied all night. When they were tested, the entire group passed. Disbelief in the chain of command that an all-black cadet class could achieve higher scores than an all-white one meant that the black sailors had to suffer the indignity of retaking their test. Again, all 16 passed. The class average at graduation was a 3.89. They made them retake the test.
They didn't believe the first score.
They did not believe that all of them could pass the test. And they said when they officially desegregated the U.S. military in 1948, there were approximately 100,000 African-American men serving in the United States Navy enlisted ranks at that time. All right, let me go to, and oh, wait. I was trying to see if I could find the names of the three that didn't. Some of them retired from the Navy. Oh, Samuel Barnes became the athletic director at Howard University and served as the executive committee of the NCAA, the first African American to do so. Dalton Bow served as an instructor of the Navy Engineering School and later at MIT. Dennis Nelson served as a public affairs officer and submitted a report entitled The Integration of the Negro into the U.S. Navy, which was published into a book in 1951. And William White would go on to serve as the presiding judge of Cook County Juvenile Court and justice for the Illinois Appellate Court. Frank Sublet, the last living member of the Golden 13, died in 2006. All right, let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Angela. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. And yourself?
Good. Can't complain.
Yes, ma'am. I'm thanking God that He woke me up this morning. Thank you, Jesus. Michelle.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that phone call yesterday. We had a lovely conversation.
You know what? I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I told you about trying to come for me. I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
I'm not coming for you. I'm just
I know you. I know who I'm dealing with. you know. So yeah, I got you. I hear you. Quack.
Okay, Michelle. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'm calling this morning because I want to congratulate my sister. Her name is Mary, but her nickname is Lulu. She got 17 years clean yesterday, and I love my sister so dearly, and I know my mom's in heaven proud of her. And I'm just so happy that we are still together and going through this journey. Me, her, and my other sister. It's a wonderful feeling to be on this side clean today.
Absolutely. And
It's,
I respect taking the
Yes.
opportunity to celebrate that,
Yes.
because this stuff is not easy. It takes a lot. People go through a lot. And
yeah,
so congratulations to your sister and to anyone that is able to, come through this thing on the other side, and put their life back on track and get families back intact, get things back together. So I certainly join you in congratulating your sister.
okay, thank you.
All right,
You
thank
all
you.
have a nice day and talk
Yes,
to you later, Michelle.
yeah, I got you. Me and you gonna talk.
Good morning, Jermaine. Good morning, Clark Kent. Good morning, Devo. Good morning, everybody at WNOV. And good morning, new owners. Don't got y'all names yet, so I can't say y'all names, but good morning to y'all.
Thanks, Angela.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now. Whew, we got another caller. Let's get them in real quick. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, WNOV.
Good morning.
Thank
good
you
morning.
for the message of the Golden 13. There's another station out here, initials TNL. I went to their Instagram and they're promoting how blacks enslaved other blacks. And here on 860, we're learning about the Golden 13. So I definitely appreciate this content. My question is on Mr. Greg Stingley. I noticed that he used to call in and he used to be guest on the show. And I saw a news program where they're saying that his attackers that murdered his son, can you help me understand, did he forgive them, therefore allowed them not to serve time? Or was that part of the agreement that they had? But I'm so confused because they were caught murdering his child, and yet they're not in prison right now.
Okay.
And I haven't heard from him or seen from him on your radio station. Thank you, Michelle.
No problem. First of all, we talk to Craig Stingley on a regular basis. He texts me almost daily when I'm on the air. He texts and he communicates with. I know he and Keith and I are on a text thread on a regular basis, and he shoots over information, stories. He talks about topics. There has been a lot going on in relationship to his son, Corey Stingley, who was murdered 13 years ago. He was in a liquor store, convenience store kind of situation, and he took $12 worth of items, they said, without paying for them, and two white men who were in the store gonna be superheroes and try to detain Corey, and they ended up killing Corey in restraining him. And Craig had not been successful. The Stingley family had not been successful in bringing these men to justice, but his father, who has been, to the caller's point, a regular on the show, someone who regularly calls in and talks about what happened to Corey, talks about the justice system, talks about how it frequently fails Black men and women who go through the system. He has fought diligently to get justice for his son. And so you can read the story everywhere. In fact, when I just pulled it up, it has made national news. Everybody from the Griot to even foreign newspapers have picked up this story about these folks. And so one of the things that I did do was I sent Craig a text message about having him come on the show to talk about it. But I know that they were still going through some of the phases of the case since he was able to get these individuals charged. So Robert Beringer and Jesse Cole pled guilty to felony murder in connection to Corey Stingley's death. under a deferred prosecution agreement that allows them to avoid jail time. In exchange, the men publicly acknowledged their role in the events that led to Corey's death while participating in an extensive restorative justice process with the Stingley family. Corey Stingley died from asphyxiation after being tackled and restrained by these customers inside VJ's Food Market in West Dallas. Prosecutors said the men suspected the teenager of attempting to steal bottles of Smirnoff Ice, held him down while waiting for the police. When the district attorney, Dane County District Attorney Ishmael Ozane wrote, "What happened to Corey Stingley?" Where was it at? My computer's jumping around. I apologize. "Should have never happened. His death was unnecessary, brutal, and devastating." An hour-long hearing in a Milwaukee courtroom was filled with family members, community activists, spiritual leaders, and some of Corey's former classmates. Both of his parents addressed the judge directly. Quote, "Corey was my baby. A mother is not supposed to bury her child," his mother, Alicia Stingley, said. She spoke of forgiveness, and after the hearing, she hugged Behringer. Where is it at? I apologize, y'all. My computer, this story is jumping around for some reason. Okay. Corey's brother, Cameron Stingley, shook both men's hands. Under the agreement, Behringer and Cole must each make a one-time $500 donation to a charitable organization chosen by the Stingley family in Corey's honor. If they comply with the terms and commit no crimes over 6 months, prosecutors will dismiss the case. Craig Stingley, Corey's father, described the moment as the culmination of a relentless 13-year fight. "My 13-year struggle has turned into triumph." In a statement filed with the court, the family emphasized that their goal was never punishment alone. Quote, "We sought not vengeance, but acknowledgement of Corey's life, his humanity, and the depth of our loss," the statement noted. "We believe this agreement honors Corey's memory and offers a model of how people can come together, even after profound harm, to seek understanding and healing." The Stingleys described Corey as a vibrant, loving son, brother, and friend, adding that the restorative justice process brought truth, understanding, and a measure of healing that the traditional court process could not. The case had been closed without charges. The case had long been closed without charges. Prosecutors initially declined to bring criminal cases, saying the men did not intend to kill Corey when they restrained him. Surveillance footage shows a third man, Mario Lauman, who died in 2022, holding Corey in a chokehold while Behringer and Cole assisted in restraining him. A witness told police Lauman was, quote, "squeezing the hell out of the teen." The Milwaukee County medical examiners ruled Corey's death a homicide, citing a brain injury due to asphyxiation after a violent struggle with multiple individuals. Under Wisconsin law, felony murder applies when someone dies during the commission of another crime, in this case, false imprisonment. There is no doubt Cole, Behringer, and Lauman caused Corey Stingley's death. The Dane County prosecutor wrote, "Simply put, Corey, a teenager, was tackled and restrained to the ground by 3 grown men because they suspected him of shoplifting." He concluded that Lauman strangled Corey to death, noting that the video showed his arm around Corey's neck for several minutes as he fades out of consciousness. Had Lauman still been alive, prosecutors said he would likely have sought a lengthy prison sentence for him. While Ozane found no evidence that Behringer or Cole knew Corey was in medical distress, he said their actions were still unlawful and unintentional. And Corey's death came the same year as the killing of Trayvon Martin, whose case galvanized national attention and helped spark the Black Lives Matter movement. Corey's killing, involving 3 white men restraining a black teen, received little attention outside of Wisconsin. And so there's more that goes on to this story, but you can read about what has transpired to this point. And this one is a difficult one for me to talk about, and I'll tell you why. Let me pull up something else before I talk about it. Give me one sec. So you all know how I am and how I can be about when Black folks have a family member that is killed wrongfully, that there is this expectation that we are going to show up, and people want us to be humble and forgiving. And I talked about in Trayvon Martin's case, I'll never forget George Stephanopoulos describing the poised, dignified way, and I'm paraphrasing, but that was the gist of it, that they responded to their son being murdered, and the calls for justice for against Zimmerman, the man who killed Trayvon Martin. So last night I was watching a story that broke. A lot of people of a certain age remember the story of a Black man by the name of Tommy Lee Walker, who 70 years ago, 1954, was accused of the 1953 rape and murder of a white woman by the name of Venice Parker. He was 19 years old at the time of his wrongful arrest, and he was executed less than 3 years after he was found guilty of this rape and murder. After a years-long joint investigation by the Dallas County DA's office, their Conviction Integrity Unit, the Innocence Project, and the Civil Rights and Restorative Justice Project at Northeastern University School of Law, it was concluded that, quote, Mr. Walker's arrest, interrogation, prosecution, and conviction were fundamentally compromised by false or unreliable evidence, coercive interrogation tactics, and racial bias. The court's declaration today provides some semblance of belated justice to Mr. Walker's legacy and to his son, our client, Edward Smith, because you see, 70 years after this man has been executed at the age of 22, they are now saying one of the police officers involved in his arrest and helping to get him convicted was a member of the KKK, that they knowingly suppressed evidence. They had proof that this man had not killed this woman or assaulted this woman, but they kept all of that out of the court. And they knowingly let a young 19-year-old man go to prison, get the death penalty, and be executed, knowing that this had not happened. This was a case that members of my family talked about. 1953, racially segregated city of Dallas, in the midst of a public panic, searching for a, quote, Negro prowler who reportedly was breaking into homes, sexually assaulting women at night. They give the description of this young brother. They give a description of this man, saying primarily only raping white women. And at the height of the scare on September 30th, Venice Parker, a white store clerk and mother of a young son, was raped and stabbed while waiting at a bus stop on her way home from work. Bleeding profusely from a gush to the neck, Miss Parker was found by a passerby who drove her to the hospital, who drove her to nearby Love Field Airport. I take it back. Multiple witnesses testified. By the time she arrived, she was unable to speak due to her injuries. However, the police officer who arrived at the scene, a white man, claimed to have heard Miss Parker say before her death that her attacker was a black man. The officer's single statement prompted police to believe Miss Parker's assailant and the city's prowler were potentially the same black man. There was no other evidence. And they talked about that the confession was coerced, and what was done to get this brother to make a confession that they knew he had not committed this crime. They used to call Dallas Jim Crow Dallas. He was threatened with the electric chair during his interrogation. Officials lied to him about evidence that they said they had on him. He was under immense pressure, and he signed 2 written confessions. The first included factual inaccuracies that made the confession implausible. The second, which Mr. Walker signed and then immediately recanted, was, quote, fixed by police to fit the details of the crime. The son of Mr. Walker, as this story was playing out on the news yesterday, he talked about forgiveness. He talked about the ability to be able to love everyone. And he basically was saying he just was glad that, after 70 years, this is what he said. Mr. Smith said he holds the memory of his father dearly, despite only having met him once as a 2-year-old. Quote, it was hard growing up without a father. When I was in school, kids talked about their dads and I had nothing to say. This won't bring him back. But now the world knows what we always knew, that he was an innocent man, and that brings some peace. And I watched him as he spoke and talked about, loving everyone in spite of what had happened to his dad. I know that they tell you that anger eats you up, that the folks that you upset with don't know, don't care. Even if they do, if you don't figure out how to get past this pain and this hurt, ultimately it can destroy you. I have never had to endure what Craig Stingley has gone through, what the family of Tommy Lee Walker has gone through. But I know just the surface of my own son being wrongfully detained by Milwaukee police and lying on him and what they tried to do to him. I know about the incidences of him being illegally stopped in Michigan and police lying on him and keying up his brand new car when they towed it to a tow lot because he had left the office and got pulled over for driving too slow while he was going to a company meeting. And he had left it was a summer day, he had taken off his suit jacket and his wallet was in the breast pocket of his suit jacket, and he walked out without it. And they arrested him, towed his brand new car. And when he got his car back, my son called me in tears. He said, Mom, they done keyed up my whole car at the tow lot. And my son's lawyer gets a ticket leaving court after he defended my son for driving too slow. So I know what on a micro level what these indignities feel like. I can't tell anybody how to grieve. I can't tell anybody what to do. I honest to God don't know what I would do in those situations, but there will be many of us who won't understand Craig Stingley's approach right now. There will be many of us that won't understand Tommy Lee Walker's family's approach right now. What I'm going to do is always be respectful of the way everybody chooses to handle and deal with their own situations. But when we got people that are telling us that, you know, we're wrong to look at the justice system through a racial lens, we're wrong to look at disparities and try to figure out how to make things better for Black folks. We're wrong because we want to highlight Black history. We're wrong, that this is supposed to be a country where you don't make those kinds of distinctions. But I am saying in 2026, we are just now learning about somebody being exonerated and put to death, though, for a murder that they didn't commit. The harms of segregation, slavery, racism permeate our lives every day. And for the people that try to jump on bandwagons, Black people like to barter in victimhood. No, damn it, we tell the truth about what has happened to us, and the truth makes you uncomfortable. Don't confuse telling the truth with being a victim or going around. I want to, I can't get my life together because people won't let me be. I gotta take a break. I'm gonna wrap this history into something that just happened with Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett and a Black Republican colleague along this same vein. I'll be right back.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
This debate, my heart simply broke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in strong support of my bill, H.R. 4922, the D.C. Crimes Act. Rather than prioritizing the safety of law-abiding and protecting the lives of innocent residents and visitors, district officials have actively facilitated dysfunction and chaos through their progressive soft-on-crime policies. Instead of addressing the clear epidemic of youth crime in the city, the D.C. City Council increased the age of youth offenders to individuals 24 years old and younger, meaning fully grown legal adults in the District of Columbia can receive sentences meant for children. This is simply insane. And that is why I introduced the D.C. Crimes Act, which lowers the definition of youth from under the age of 25 to under the age of 18, removes the ability of judges to sentence youth offenders below mandatory minimum guidelines, and requires the D.C. Attorney General to establish a public website containing much needed statistics on juvenile crime in D.C. The Trump administration's efforts have shown that lawlessness is a choice. And it is time for Congress to step up, adhere to our constitutional duty, and firmly address crime in the nation's capital.
Many people know me for being able to do alliterations, and all I could think about was amnesia allows adolescent accountability, avoidance, agility from across the aisle. So work with me for a second. Imagine being a young man born to Jamaican and Panamanian parents who messed up not once, but twice. Imagine standing in front of a judge with your whole future hanging in the balance, and instead of prison, you are given a promise of mercy. Your record gets wiped clean. You get a second chance at life. Now imagine taking that promise and turning it into promotion. You go to college, you get a job, and even become a member of Congress. That's what redemption looks like. That's what America is supposed to be about. And that is exactly the story of the next wannabe governor from Florida. As a young man, he went through pretrial diversion for misdemeanor marijuana possession. As an adult, yet younger than 24, he was charged with and ultimately placed on probation for felony bribery charges, which ultimately were 2 expunged. He was given a third chance, and now he's the face of a bill that would not afford young people in Washington, D.C. the same opportunities afforded to him. Let me be real. If he had grown up under Donald Trump's America or under the very DC crime bill he's pushing today, he wouldn't be standing here as a member of Congress. He'd still be living with the weight of those charges. So let's call this what it is, opportunities for me, but not for thee. He climbed the ladder of redemption, and now he's yanking it right up from the DC youth. See, most of us were taught to lift as you climb, but clearly some have forgotten to lift as they climb, and now they are committed to telling the next generation to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. I will not sit quiet while a man who was saved by grace turns around and tries to snatch grace away from others. If we're going to be real about crime, about community, about
expired. I'd like to yield for an additional minute, please. Gentlewoman is recognized.
About second chances and even third chances, then it needs to start with us looking in the mirror and remembering that even the author of this bill has a story too before he tries to lecture DC on safety. And it would be complete hypocrisy to have hypothetically someone convicted of 34 felonies to lecture DC on what to do with youthful offenders who have been scientifically shown not to have fully developed brains under the age of 25, especially if said multi-count convicted felon was in his 70s when he was convicted. What would be his excuse?
All right, folks. So that was Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett out of the state of Texas, who was actually running for a U.S. Senate seat. And she was talking about a piece of legislation that was introduced by a Black man by the name of Bryant Donalds out of Florida, who is also a member of Congress, who has introduced a bill talking about the need to get tough on juvenile offenders in D.C. Now, Bryant Donalds represents Florida, but he's worried about crime in DC. and wants to introduce a bill to be able to be tough on crime on juveniles and remove discretion from judges so that they are forced to give the maximum penalty for crimes committed by said juveniles. DC, known as the Chocolate City, many of the young people that's getting in trouble look like you and I, look like the author of this bill. So Jasmine Crockett had to take to the floor to call out the hypocrisy of the moment. As she said, Byron Donalds got in trouble twice. Got in trouble twice. Dealing weed. And I forgot what the second offense was for. But the second offense he committed after he was 18, but before he was 24. And he's up here saying, how dare you give grace to these young people under the age of 24. And it's ironic because remember when I was teasing Jermaine and he said people got potential. And I said, after 24, I'm not talking about your potential, but I was giving you grace to 24 because even the insurance company and the auto industry say until a man reaches 25, your insurance is through the roof because you're not fully developed. Can't trust you with a vehicle yet. Your insurance is higher than a woman of the same age. Mm-hmm. So this sister got to remind this black brother, the sister who's a lawyer, ain't never been in trouble. Got to remind the black man who's been in trouble multiple times, was facing jail time. How dare you stand up in the House of Representatives and introduce a bill that makes it harder for young people who have made mistakes to be given a second chance when you've been afforded those very chances. You are in Congress today because you didn't come up under the Trump administration, but you came up under other administrations that were allowing people to have a second chance. We got a convicted murderer who is running the Office of Violence Prevention in the state or the city of Milwaukee. We have all this room for other people to be given a second chance. But the black man who's running for governor down in Florida doesn't want, and I mean, just remove the veil. He talking about black kids in DC. That's what we talking about. Opportunities for me, but not for thee. Amnesia. What did she say? He had amnesia. And she did a whole bunch of verbal play with the letter A. But it allows him to forget that you were giving grace. So as we look historically, how Black folks have been treated in this country and are still being treated. When you got somebody introducing legislation to be overly punitive and you understand who the intended target is, and I got people that tell me that diversity, equity, and inclusion is not important. Y'all bros need to holler at some of y'all bros. Because when we start running down that list, this is primarily black men who have drank the Keisha will say the Weilers. It wasn't Kool-Aid. It was Weilers. Who have drank the Weilers. Jim Jones is all up in here. Let me go to the phones. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hello, how you doing, Michelle?
I'm good. How you doing this morning, bro?
Doing pretty good. Do you know we go through the serious issues?
You know what? Your phone is breaking up. You got us on speaker?
No, I don't.
Try it again. I'm not sure what's going on, but the phone keep going in and out.
All right, then.
You gonna try? You go ahead. See if we can get it out.
Okay. I'm saying, like, you know, that man in the White House, he's going through some serious issues in these 4 years that he's in office. And he stated some news reporter the other day that if somebody trying to harm him, and he stated that if he being harmed, in some kind of way, he's going to blow this country up.
Oh, that's what he said. I missed that. I have to go back and look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I will look for it and see what he said, but he ain't gonna blow up nothing. let me be clear. He ain't gonna blow up nothing. But thank you, bro. I appreciate the call. Do I have another caller? Let's get them in. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, good morning. First thing I want to say is continue to live life in peace and harmony and judge every person by their integrity and their character and the words that come out their mouths. But sometimes Black people are too forgiving. Okay, like when I see what happened that goes on with these families, they say, well, I forgive. For me personally, if you do something that's in your heart, that's not for me to give. That's for Jesus to do, and I'm neither him or do I want to be. For me, this is just me personally. If you do something in your heart to my family member, I don't want you to go to prison. You'll get 3 meals a day. I want to see you eaten alive by a bunch of wild pigs and put on a postcard like they did that boy in 1953. I want to see you dripped in raw honey and bird seeds and you eating alive while the crows take you and defecate you through the hemisphere, because that's the closest you're going to get to your Jesus. But see, people have to understand everybody has the free will to do what's right. And when you constantly forgive, you give the person the right to keep on doing that. But then again, some Black people don't speak what's in their heart. They only speak what's in their heart when it comes to their own. And that is why we are in the predicament we are in. And furthermore, to the people who keep saying Black people sold Black people, they just didn't wake up in the morning and say, I want to sell somebody Black, because if that was the case, they would have had somebody Caucasian on that cotton field, picking that cotton and getting them splinter on their hands. But there wasn't. The reason why they were able to do that, because they was probably a slave who got highlighted by the slave master and said, here, I'm going to let you be a good nigga and sell the other niggas. But what he didn't do is let you sell his own people. So I just wanted to give y'all some of that education. I said it wrong. Yes, I did. I want to give you some of that this morning. But Black people, you don't have to be so forgiving. That's Jesus' job, not yours. So right today, if you do something to me, yes, I'm going to try to sue. I want the dirt around the casket. And when you're magging me, I want that too, so I can use that as vegetation and fertilizer for my yard. Stop being so forgiving.
All right, thank you,
Have
caller.
a great day. Bye-bye.
Appreciate the call. Let me
One more caller.
let me get this next caller. Hey, caller, what's happening?
How you doing?
I'm all right. How you doing this morning?
Not as well as you sight unseen.
All right now.
But this is the Reverend Dr. Andrew Ward.
Okay.
I want to make a couple of points. One point is they want segregation because they think a Black man might get a hold of a white woman. There's another point, and this is for real. They are scared of Black men because Black men lead. If the white boy gets around a Black man, he would be led. And that's proven by when they attack a Black man, he got to be in a crowd in a nice position. 2 good points, though. My granddaughter, who was Miss Juneteenth at the age of 10, is now president of the student council at Kane at age 14, freshman. And she was
At where? One, at Rufus King? At Rufus King?
Yes.
That's awesome.
And she was the one who was the spokesperson for the walkout yesterday. And she's making a hell of a speech.
Okay.
And I want to remix something that came from Raising in the Sun. We come from a long line of proud and accomplished peoples. And we will prevail if we get our minds right. And you have a good one.
All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the call. All right, family. Before I go to my break, let me work this in real quick. Because I just was so irritated by it. So, a lot of conversation about Donald Trump yesterday. over in Switzerland, and folks are saying he's backing down off of his threat to take Greenland by force, military action. And so I'm not getting ready to get into the specifics of that at this moment, but there was a quote that was aired on a lot of the national networks from a congressman from the state of Wisconsin, Van Orden. And what's Van Orden's first name? What is it? I have to go find his first name. But he hang on. He was talking about how Trump, has some new framework for some other deal, for some other land, and they're not gonna go after, Greenland in the way he talked about a full and complete seizure of this, this area. And so Representative Derek Van Orden is quoted as saying, that a lot of it was I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically rhetoric, and that Donald Trump, is a masterful negotiator. And this was basically just a negotiation tactic. And then after he says that, he looks in the camera and he says, because after all, he did write the book, The Art of the Deal. I just want all the silly Republicans that listen to my show to call y'all boy and tell him if he gonna say something on TV, know what the hell he talking about. Donald Trump did not write the Art of the Deal book. The book was actually written by a journalist by the name of Tony Schwartz, who was the ghostwriter, who said he spent 18 months writing and crafting this book. And while Donald Trump is credited, both of them, with writing it, Schwartz has since gone public and said that he expressed significant regret and claiming he wrote nearly the entire book while Trump provided some input. He regrets that he even allowed it to happen. But Donald Trump did not write The Art of the Deal. This man can't put 7 sentences together. So why would you think he actually was able to write a book? So to Wisconsin Representative Derek Van Orden, who looks so gleefully in the camera like you putting us up on game, Donald Trump did not write The Art of the Deal. But wait, Van Orden wrote his own book. His book that he wrote in 2015 is called Book of Man, a Navy SEAL's Guide to the Lost Art of Manhood. Now, I don't know if his book titled The Lost Art of Manhood was influenced by Donald Trump's book, The Art of the Deal. But one of the things that it says in the summary of the book, there's this quote: being a man is not about what you are, but about who you are. It is about how you choose to live your life. This is a huge difference between being a male and being a man. So here is, and Representative Derek Van, can't even think of the man's last name, Orden, is also a former Navy SEAL. He is retired military. So here is this man who writes a book about being a man and says a man is not about what you are, but about who you are. But you all rah-la-di-da for the man who cheats on every woman he's ever had, who's suspected of child, engagements out at the Jeffrey Epstein, little sets, who has this fixation with everybody calling him daddy. Did y'all hear that yesterday? They called me daddy. Like, what the hell is it with this man wanting to be called daddy?
Not only that, but he called Greenland Iceland.
Oh, 100 times. While the little silly girl in the white pantsuit standing there talking about he didn't say that. Caroline
said that it was covered with ice.
Get a clue. So I gotta take a break, but I just had to work that in because I screamed at the TV when this representative from Wisconsin smugly, he did write The Art of the Deal. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. And clearly whatever your little book about is some nonsense too, because if you truly understood what it meant to be a man, there is no way you would follow that clown that's in the White House, because he is not a man. He's a male, but he's not a man. I'll be right back.
WAURN News.
I'm Jamie Jackson. A program designed to help train the next generation of civil rights attorneys is marking a major milestone. The Legal Defense Fund says it has
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Let me get this caller in before I switch gears for a sec. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello?
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
I just wanted to say a couple of things. You know,
Oh, that's Tyrone. Hey, Tyrone.
good morning
Hey.
to the community. I you know, that guy Van Orden, and even if people really peep the whole card of Tiffany, they'll find out he voted against everything black.
And
when he
this
was
is
in
Tom
state
Tiffany, who's
legislature.
running for governor on the
He's running
Republican
for governor.
side of the
He-
ticket.
This state will be ran by Donald Trump up close and personal if he becomes governor. We won't have no right. Everything that Trump wants to do, he'll let him do it. So you have no resistance to anything like you have from our current governor. So if people who are thinking about Tiffany, he sounds like because he's in D.C., but that man has a total hate, just like Donald Trump and all of them, for black people and brown people. He's a rubber stamp for all that nonsense that he's doing. So I wouldn't even want to have my hand rubbed over his name at all. He's just terrible. And and the other thing is, isn't it interesting that all these people talk about we can't do this and we can't do that in government, we can't do grocery stores, we can't do anything, and then Donald Trump has us as the public owning part of U.S. Steel. we own part of that. He has rights over all their personnel, all the issues in the company. They put what $500,000 in them, and I wanted people to remember when Obama bailed out the airline industry, when what's his name, Bush bailed out the savings and loan industry. There have been
housing
presidents
industry,
who
the
be
auto
housing
industry.
and so when local people say, well, we can't do this. Well, yes, you can. They're doing it at the federal level. They take taxpayer money and invest it in private entities and nonprofit entities. So we got to be as creative as we're watching people be creative. And some of it's illegal, but if you don't have the ability to challenge it, then it becomes legal. So it's just being steadfast in trying to make sure we're getting what we're supposed to get. But I don't want people to think that things can't be done, because if you're creative, you can get anything done in government.
All right. Thank you, Tyrone. I appreciate the call. Somebody hit me up on Messenger and they said, Michelle, what is Tyrone talking about with U.S. Steel? So I'm going to actually play a clip for you. But before I do that, let me just say this as a sidebar. So I am involved in a lot of different stuff. And one of the things that I am involved in, a group of people are going to visit the nation's capital. And so I was charged with reaching out to legislators about getting meetings with them when we're in DC. The thing that was funny to me as I navigated the websites of these elected officials, and from Wisconsin, we have three Democrats that are elected officials, and the other 7 or 8 are Republicans. So we have 8 congressional members, 2 Democrats and 6 Republicans, and we have 2 U.S. senators, 1 Democrat, 1 Republican. Okay. So one of the things that became a central theme in trying to contact these offices, when you go to their websites, you have to put in your address on some of the Republicans, website. If your address is not in their district, you can't leave them an email. You have to pick up the phone and call their office, or you have to send a hard letter for whatever it is you're trying to do. I thought that was very interesting because on one hand, as I said, in the Byron Donald situation, you represent the state of Florida, but you want to create law as a member of Congress to be able to impact Washington, D.C. There are Republicans from Wisconsin who are making laws that impact other parts of the country, but you don't really want to hear from somebody in Wisconsin that's not from your district. And I thought that was really, really interesting. And I'm like, why do you make it harder for people to access you than you do easier? So yeah, the Democrats, you could be from anywhere. You wanted to send a message, you wanted to do a meeting request, an invite, all you had to do was just put the information in there. So I just want to say, I thought that was interesting. This is about accessibility and transparency. And sometimes it doesn't always feel like that's what we get. But Jay, let me see if I can play this interview real quick. Where's
Summer, Japan's Nippon's.
All right, there it is. Can I play this? Okay. So let's go.
Steel bought U.S. Steel. Now, the U.S. government and President Trump have a say in its operations. Planet Money's Erica Barras explains what Trump calls a golden share.
When a foreign company wants to buy or invest big money in an American company, they can't just go ahead and do it. Deals that might touch on national security, they're reviewed by the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, CFIUS. It's America's gatekeeper, making sure any foreign investor coming in is going to be on our side. And the vast majority of what CFIUS does is behind the scenes. Did you have to take an oath?
I got a top secret security clearance.
Sarah Bowerly-Dansman is a political economist at Indiana University. She did a stint as a CFIUS case officer, so she's had a firsthand look at the national security agreements that CFIUS negotiates. Historically, they've been related to defense, but under both the Trump and Biden administrations, the committee has been reviewing a broader category of business transactions: cybersecurity, AI, biotechnology, clean energy. And now, this U.S. Steel deal. On the day it was signed, a White House spokesperson said it will safeguard U.S. national and economic security. The deal stipulates all kinds of things. Nippon cannot change U.S. Steel's name. Nippon must invest billions of dollars updating mills. No factory can close. No salaries reduced without President Trump's approval. And the agreement actually includes his name.
That's not normal. In any other situation, the whole thing about like getting Donald J. Trump's express consent would not be there.
President Trump used an unusual term to describe this unusual arrangement.
We have a golden stock. We have a golden share, which I control or president controls now.
Is a golden share a new thing?
No. It's a new thing for the U.S.
Imagine a company has like 100 shares. Usually the more shares you have, the more power you have. But some shares have extra powers.
A golden share is a different class of shares in which a government can own a very small percentage of the company, but has outsized voting rights.
So they are like a super special shareholder.
Yes.
The idea comes from the UK in the 1980s. The UK privatized state-owned industries and used golden shares as a way to ease into a freer market. Since then, others have also used golden shares: China, Russia, Brazil. But what Trump is doing with the U.S. Steel, it's an unusual take.
It doesn't appear to be a golden share.
At least not a typical one.
Because the U.S. government does not appear to actually hold an equity stake in U.S. Steel.
What does that mean?
It means that what the U.S. government has is kind of extra special governance rights.
Sarah says it's a symbolic golden share. And when we asked the White House why they call it a golden share, they said the Golden National Security Agreement outlining certain provisions and stipulations governing Nippon Steel's acquisition of U.S. Steel didn't really have the same ring to it, nor did, quote, metallic gray share. Either way, it's the U.S. government getting a big say in the C-suite. I'm Erica Barris, NPR News.
Dude is all about money, man.
This dude.
He loved money so much. He's willing to do whatever.
I'm just saying. Hey, my grandfather worked for U.S. Steel in Birmingham, Alabama. I was on the U.S. Steel parking lot every Friday when my granddaddy got paid. I would ride in the truck with him when I was younger to go pick up his check. I know that area well. Other folks in the family worked at U.S. Steel. And this was back in August when a lot of people were talking in August 2025 that a Japanese company had bought U.S. Steel. And Donald Trump insisting that he be given voting rights when it comes to the hiring of, I guess, the president of U.S. Steel or certain decisions that had to be made. And you were like, say what now? And then he tried to clarify, well, any president of the United States would have that authority, but insisted that his name actually be somewhere a part of the deal. So yes, when people were asking what in the world is Tyrone talking about with U.S. Steel and how does that relate to the conversation we having right now, that's the conversation. Do I have any callers or am I okay? Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, Michelle, just one last thing. When you talked about trying to get in touch with representatives,
yes,
I figured out that there's slickness a few years ago. I found an address in their district, looked it up, found the zip code, and I sent my letter that way. I knew it was gonna get open because it was coming from their district.
Right.
So I said, you think you slick? I'm gonna out slick the slick because I sent it directly, and had my name on it. I made it sound like I was in their district, and man, I got through. I'm sure in the end they must have said, "What's the heck?" But they got it. So people, you are never discouraged. There's always a way if you want to find a way.
I like that. Thank you, Tyrone. I appreciate it.
Find a way.
What'd you say?
We will find a way.
Oh yeah. I mean, but just the fact that you make it so hard that we have to find a way. That's the part that's frustrating. But look, speaking of finding a way, the degree of incompetence, the degree of Trump putting people in place who just can't buy a clue. Have you all seen the U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, who put out this little chart talking about food and said that Americans can save money and have their meals aligned with the new Department of Health and Human Services dietary guidelines by simply eating, quote, a piece of chicken, a piece of broccoli, a corn tortilla, and one other thing. And then, you could get this done for $3.
Say what?
So the Trump administration's people have updated the food pyramid. And before, where meat was not at the top of the pyramid, it's now been moved to the top of the pyramid.
Number one.
Red meat, full fat dairy, saturated fats, while discouraging processed foods and sugar. But you move red meat to the top of the food pyramid.
These people.
That's what he like.
And then old girl says, but y'all can eat off of $3. And you go get a piece of chicken, a piece of broccoli. I don't know why we got tortilla on there and some other ingredient. Like, these are people who do not struggle, who don't have food insecurity, who are not living paycheck to paycheck. This whole concept of affordability, okay, of the thing that Donald Trump ran on, telling Americans he was going to make y'all life better and get more money in y'all pocket and make sure that people had jobs. This woman said, we've run over 1,000 simulations. It can cost around $3 a meal for a piece of chicken, a piece of broccoli, a corn tortilla, and one other thing. So there is a way to do this that actually will save the average American consumer money. I don't know what grocery shopping these people are doing. I don't know. But without fail, we continue to have people making decisions for us that are not in our best interest. They're disguised as policy, but it's really punitive. And we are constantly being given misinformation, being misled, and then told it's our fault when things don't work out. So I don't know how many of you have paid attention to this. I don't know how many of you plan to take the new food guidelines to heart, like taking the new medical guidelines to heart around vaccinations. And, we're now seeing a measles outbreak in this country that's off the charts. But we got incompetent people running these agencies and these departments. They're incompetent. And I keep saying, we're going to have to figure out how we navigate all of this. Is that a call, Jermaine? Okay. Okay, let me get this caller, and then I can get ready to wrap the show for today. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello?
Good morning to you.
Well, good morning.
You asked a question. You said these people are incompetent. These people don't have the idea of things clue of how much real meals cost, because most of them eat in cafeterias. And you go through the cafeteria and you probably can pick you up a old chicken thigh and a tortilla and
Wait. Let me just make
broccoli.
sure I'm clear. So you're saying most of the people that are making these decisions are eating at the cafeteria?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they have no clue of what a real meal costs. See, a lot of stores are moving around because they're shaky on the SNAP program, food stamp share program. See, if that collapses, then most of your big store chains, food gonna go to waste. They can't be able to sell. If you go in Centuries right now, up that one up there on Appleton, on Lisbon, about 92nd and Lisbon, it's nothing more than a corner store because the Indians and Arabs have teamed together, and I think maybe mostly Indians have took that place over, and they ain't got nothing in there. It's not like a real Century Brand store. It's like a corner store. I mean, you can tell how it's set up in the items that they have. It's nothing like Century used to be, and it's smelling like a Indian incense when you go up in there around the food area, you know. So they're fleeing because they're afraid that this food stamp share program, it might go into effect where people can't buy what they want to buy or what they need to buy. So there are a lot of them. They're taking this under as a business idea. Now something else we talked about. I heard you talk about, and I'm switching over, George, so you don't think I'm all over the place. And with Michelle, you have to do that because if you do too fast, you know what's going to happen to me. Okay, so it sounds like I be jumping everywhere, but I'm very cautious on the words that I say and choose because I know who I'm dealing with.
Man, go on to make your point, man. Jesus.
Okay, somebody was talking about the Greenland area. Now listen, and I said this when it first transpired. I said, listen, we got them Chinese up there playing around, splashing in that water, digging in things. We are basically being surrounded. See, and if you have any kids or grandkids, you want to have a future for them kids, you have to look beyond right now. And that's what's happening. You got some people that make decisions and they sell the family house soon as it's gone. You know, I had somebody in my family pull the same stunt on me. So, and it hurt me because that was something that didn't have to be done. And so when you look around, you have to be ready for the future because now the same spot that she got rid of is worth probably about $300,000 right now. And guess what? It's steady growing. And it was like a family heirloom. There was some other ones in there, but that's what happened. So we have to quit looking at right now. So with this Greenland deal, we have to quit looking at right now because when that man, and I always ask the question, well, I learned in school, Alaska, how did Alaska become a state? Because it was purchased by the guy that was killed, that succeeded Lincoln, who really was a Democrat. Lincoln was
don't do that because you already know that a Democrat back then was a Republican today. Stop playing.
No, that's not
Stop
what I'm
playing.
Going. So you already jumped the gun.
No, but that hoe really was a Democrat. There was no need to stress that because
No, because Lincoln is the only president that ever took a Democrat and a Republican ran on the ticket together. That's what I was getting at. Lincoln is the only one that ever did that. So when Lincoln died, Johnson got in there and he went over there and bought Alaska from Russia. Which had he not bought Russia from Alaska from Russia, Russia would be in our backyard. Probably done conquered us already over the years because that's been probably over 200 years. I don't know. Do the math. So anyway, they
got bought in 1867. But go ahead.
Had that guy not seen that, had he not seen that in social studies, they would teach you that Russia would have been. We would probably been already speaking Russian. Okay, we probably would already been Russian. And I don't know why nobody's bringing this up in the media. Because this is not something new, but it was new and only time done when Lincoln took a Democrat to run on the ticket.
Wait. So I gotta go because I'm up against the clock. We certainly can finish this conversation because I think and thank you, bro, for the call. You do add something this morning, but I think that it's important to understand. It wasn't like we stopped Russia from, encroaching on further into Northern America. Russia was going through their own financial difficulties. They sold off the area that we now know as Alaska because they was in trouble. They were in trouble. So it wasn't like we, had to conquer them or go after them or do something crazy. It was because, and they bought it, just so people know, Secretary of State William Seward bought Russia for $7.2 million back in the day, in 1867. But we can have a conversation. But it was because they were in trouble. The other thing, real quick, on China. China is doing in Greenland what they're doing all over the world. As I said, when I visited Africa and I was in Kenya and I'm driving on roads and the black folks in Kenya telling me China is putting in the infrastructure over here. You go to Jamaica, China got a huge presence over there. Greenland is no different, because they after the minerals and the rare earth resources that they have, but they created the Arctic shipping routes. I think it's called the Polar Silk or something like that. China is having a presence all over the world. They're no different from us. All of this is not about strategically, how can we take out the United States of America? They're doing it all over the world. We've chosen not to be a good friend. We chose to close down military bases in Greenland when we had as many as between 17 and 19. So, I'm just saying. But we'll have a conversation. With that, that's a wrap for the show today. I appreciate everybody. I was watching all the comments on Facebook, YouTube. I appreciate everybody for being with me today. Family, I will reconvene on Monday. But I'm going to tell you right now, stay out the way on Friday, man. Stay warm. Yeah. Do what gas up the car, the pacer, gas up the pacer. And y'all make sure these kids are not out here unprotected, and our elderly in our community that we checking on them. And with that, bros in the studio, I appreciate y'all. I'm glad my son didn't call in today, and I'll talk to y'all next week. Peace.